I was talking about that we are working in between different disciplines in the field of public policies on memory. We have this area with universities, with institutions, memorial museums, even city councils. This is a project that we started in 2011. We went to Brussels and we said, okay, we are going to run this observatory, but we are going to make a project and we are going to say that we are going to be very critical with your public policies on memory, very critical with the Parliament, some, not all, but some European Parliament resolutions dealing with the public policies on memory, and also with the European Commission, some of the European Commission programs dealing with memory politics. And then, okay, the project was more or less accepted. It was good for us, of course. And we have this, I mean, for the 21st century, we have this multidisciplinary and transnational perspective and approach from local that you are going to see in different projects, regional and, of course, international. We are not only working with Europe partners, we are working also with friends from universities in the United States, in Canada, and also quite a lot in Chile and Argentina, Latin America. And then, well, of course, has other many organizations. We have different main goals, as networkings, this multidisciplinary research, these really connections among institutions and civil society, as you will see in some of the examples, and of course, making joint projects. Just a very brief panorama of more or less our critical approaches about these debates and memory issues in the European Union and not only, of course. We have these public policies of memory as a reaction of this permanent and different and also multiple crises that we are suffering not only in Europe. And then this reaction also that the European Union or some of the European decrees and programs has this kind of, we are critical about this kind of project of peace and stability confronted to our violent past. So it means that we are okay, very lucky nowadays because our past is so dark and so negative and so violent. But as you know, the complexity of the present, of course, it's completely different nowadays, and we tried also to put on the table this transnationality and this multiplicity of memories. This multiplicity of memories is a perception we try to break more or less the last 10 years, I should say maybe, of this kind of competition and tension between the memory of the biggest dictatorship during the 20th century, the Nazism and the Stalinism. For us and for me, this kind of tension and competition excludes some diversity of the past conflicts, some regional, some ethnic ones, and other conflicts, as I'm going to mention one or two. And of course, it's a kind of danger equiparation among different categories of victims, or so-called victimization. Of course, it was only these Nazi and Soviet crimes victimization too. So we believe, and we are going to try, and we are trying to develop new methods and participate, a kind of so-called participative or participation in memory files and memory policies, based on this defending the citizenship participation and also new ways of transmission. For example, one of these reactions, maybe you know better than me, but we had a study trips twice in an international commission to analyze what went on in this Budapest national and official memory, and why this official memory was very soon and just confronted by citizenship, creating this living memorial in this Freedom Square in Budapest, and saying that this official memory from the top to the basis, it was a kind of manipulation. So for us, it's a kind of example, you know, how to break this kind of, how to improve this participation, this action on the counter monuments and the counter power, also with trying to develop these memories, because these memories also were not so critical with the locals' roles and the local roles in this repression. For instance, talking about the Nazi occupation of Hungary and of Budapest. No? Another one, I'm calling this uncomfortable memories for some nationalism and for some nationals, dealing with this colonialization and decolonization in all these European processes. And we are working with a very, concrete example also. That one was in Budapest, this one is in Lyon, in France. That, of course, this prison, it was occupied for prisoners till the small prison till 2009, so very recent, the Memorial Museum. But now it's one of the national official memorials in France. It depends on this, the Ministry of the Army, that they have this network in France, the EPA, the Direction Nationale des Archives et Mémoires, and they try to make a kind of museum and a memorial, but they are only the decision. It was official and it was very comfortable to talk about the colonialism, of course, about the Algerian War of Independence. And then here, one of the layers of the memory and the history of this prison, it was there was a guillotine there, and there was Algerian people killed there, and there is no traces about this memory and this history, not only memory, of course. And this memorial is based only during the Second World War, dealing with the perpetrators, dealing with the occupation, dealing with the resistance, the victims, and the deportations, of course. And there is this different tensions between the perception and the imposing official memories. And we are working to arise and in the same place how to work with these different levels of memories. And not only memories, also different levels of memorial, the memory of different groups, as with these the Algerian citizens or French Algerian citizens in France in that case. Another kind of memories that we are going to work with, the other, it's these invisible memories or subaltern memories. This example, we are going just next to Barcelona, and one in Barcelona. It was the woman prison during the Franco dictatorship, who was a woman prison for the political prisoners during the dictatorship from the 1939 till the 1955. Even some women from this prison were killed and shot. And this is invisible prison and invisible memory because they were women, so the gender memory, because they were. And then we create a kind of participation process with the students from the university. Also, we work a lot with the master that we are teaching at Barcelona University about memory in public space. And we invited also very known people who work a lot with this memory in public space, as you can see here, Stephanie Hellich, Corpo Hazel, different artists, architects, historians. And we make a commission with the students and with the associations of these women. We engage all the associations of neighborhood, I don't know if this is the name in English, but neighborhood associations or council associations from the basis. I mean, a lot of association of gender, of women, and then they participate with us in this project. Not without the administration of the city council, nor without the power. And these processes went on and is going on. It's a live process. And then last year, 1 year ago, we won a little battle, and we had the possibility to show in the public space, in the same place where this prison were, this kind of memorialization on the street with this photo of a prisoner. Yeah, Doris means woman, and then on the back side there is a kind of panelization that we are changing every 4-5 months with different other contents, not only with the history of the jail, also with witnesses, with letters from the prison. Now we are working with the urban topography of the real perimeter of the prison, So this is an example that we are quite proud to show, because this is really a participation process of memorialization in public space. And of course, the administration, the power, the city council is always on our, on our back. Sometimes it was a kind of conflict because they were rejecting more or less the idea of making a memorial and public monument. It depends also a lot, as you may know, a lot on the politics itself. No? Oh. So just to finish some projects and activities, we are the other part, not this observing and these projects about public memory. We are making activities as other platforms, networks, and universities and associations like you. So we are doing a lot of seminars. 70% more or less we are acting out of Spain and out of Catalonia, out of Barcelona, but also we have a lot of deals and also internal conflicts with the memory in Spain and Catalonia, so we are dealing with that too, and making the international trips and conferences with Italian partners, about Balkans conflicts last year. And one of the projects is the project that we are going to present, and we're always going to introduce to you about this mapping that we did with a mobile application and also internet application. At the beginning of this project, also with the other project about women prison, it was not possible to explicitize or to set something in the public space at the first times. So the space of these projects were the beginning of the space of this project. For this project, it was always internet. So the projects began as for the women prison, for an internet memorial space, and this other project began with this also this impossibility to act directly to the public space. So we create these tools of information, of teaching, even about tourism of memory.
Well, as Jordi said, part of the Observatory of Memories that we launched some years ago, we are developing many projects at a European level with our network of partners, and we also develop, we are kind of forced to develop also local projects in Barcelona or Catalonia, this small part in the northeast of Spain. Well, and this is the project that we've been working for some years now, which is the signposting, the online or virtual signposting of the historical and memorial sites of the city of Barcelona. And we organized it in different tours, self-guided tours. You can use this information with the app for cell phones, or even using, if you have connection to internet, with the website is ready for tablets and cell phones as well, so you can go with all the information in your hand all around the city. Just to begin a bit, and maybe if you are not familiar with the contemporary Spanish history, recent history, here you can find a kind of timeline. I don't know, can you see it well, or maybe the lights is okay? You have this timeline here. We played with the color code. The blue signs it's historical facts concerning Barcelona and Catalonia, and then the yellow ones are the historical episodes of Spain, and then the green one about world history. For instance, the beginning of the World War II, so the end of the World War II. Okay, and the period we are covering in this project is from 1931, that it was when the Second Republic was proclaimed in Spain. After an election, the people decided to vote for Republican parties, and then the monarchy left the country. The king and his family went into exile. So the Second Republic was installed in Spain, because the first was some years ago, with a very short republic. And then it started the modernization of the country with, for instance, cultural new policies, or even the right to access the land for the people working in the fields, or for instance, gender equality laws. You know, it was the first time that women could vote in Spain during this period. But this wasn't, I mean, not everybody liked this kind of modernization and new policies. So in 1936, just before the World War II, a coup d'etat made by part of the army that was very soon led by General Franco, that maybe you've heard about him. So it started the civil war because the coup d'etat was resisted in the main cities such as Barcelona and Madrid. People went on the street, especially workers and some part of the let's say the police, you know, and they stopped the coup d'etat. So that's why the Spanish War or Civil War started. And then after 3 years, the fascists won because they received the help of Mussolini and Hitler from Germany and Italy, and then the dictatorship was installed for almost 40 years. Finally, when the dictator died in his bed, nobody could force him to be dismissed. Then the transition, what we call the transition to democracy, started. More or less 4 years. So this is the period we are covering from 1931 to 1980. And again, with the tours, we organized the tours in 10 different districts. So if you can, you here have a small definition of each tour and the information that you will find inside. And then we'll go in. But let me show you first. You can also have a look at the map, where we have, well, we also played with a color code here, different color for each tour, and then you have the tours marked on the map. You can check it if you like. Normally, when it works properly, when you click in one of the spots, a small fact sheet with short information about the space is open here with a picture that is not working because we had problems in our server, and I called them yesterday, please solve it, that the guy was skiing in the mountains. So. But here, when you click, you have this. He's celebrating the anniversary. Well, that normally you have here the short definition of that place. Google Maps, you know, it's the zoom in, blah blah. Okay, this is the map, we located, and then when you go inside the tours, you have all the information here. But let me conceptualize a bit this project, because after the short definition of the history, contemporary history of Spain, I told you, we must say that during the dictatorship, the Franco dictatorship, concerning the traumatic past, the memory was completely manipulated. As you can imagine, the historical speech was changed in favor of the ones who won the war, and lots of commemorations were held every year only to remember one part of the people that went to fight. Of course, the one who won the war. Numerous monuments were built in every city of the country to commemorate the victory of the fascist troops. And of course, the memory of those who were not supporting the new regime was completely forbidden and forgotten, forcefully forgotten. But then, after the transition, when democracy was recovered, especially what we call sometimes the grandchildren generation, that would be like Jordi and myself, that people that we didn't experience neither the war, neither the dictatorship itself, started moving with the, and maybe we were part of recovery of this memory resistance as well. And in the case of Barcelona itself, the city, in the late 1970s, early 80s, something started to change, and some representative monuments from the memory of the Republic and the Catalan culture, who was completely banned given the dictatorship, the language, the parliament, the government, all Catalan signs were completely banned during the dictatorship. So in the 80s, some of these monuments or street names were changed to recover a bit this memory, and also some fascist symbols were removed from the street, from the public place, but there wasn't a coordinated memorial policy, you can say. There was something here and there, but there was not a serious and coordinated policy, public policy. And in this context, we started working with this map in 2009, 2010. We started the research in the archive and bibliographical research. Because this is true, we could find a very good bibliography because there was not a recovery of memory on the public space, but in the academia we can say that many historians could work freely. I mean, there was a good job made by historians during that period. So thanks to this bibliography or information in the archives, we could select, or well, locate, or catalog, and interpret, if you want, around 200 sites in the city. But here, as we should design feasible tours that you can make it in one morning or maybe whole day, we didn't include the 200 sites, but we selected 70, and now we are developing a new tour that it will be the 11th, that will be soon in the website as well. So we believe that with this location and catalogation of these sites, we could mark somehow the places where democracy was attacked, but also was defended, you know, and vindicated in the street, you know. Well, you have the option of watching it at home, in the sofa, or you can use it the app and follow the route. And for instance, we can select a couple or 3 sites just to have an idea about what we pretend with this. For instance, here in Ortaya, okay, now we are inside of this tour in Ortaya, which is the northern district of the city. Here you have all the places, 6 places in this case. And every site has all the information here, a short introduction, and then more information, and then here you have its location in the map. And and here you have the period. Okay, you have the timeline again here, and the period marked in blue color. Okay, and all fact sheets, all sites have 4 pictures. Normally, the first one is an archival picture, and then 3 new pictures that we took on with the help of a professional photographer. And then let me show this place, which is becoming very popular now among youngsters in the city. It's in a hill. In that time, during the war, anti-aircraft defenses were installed here, because maybe you don't know, but during the war, the city became renowned because it was the first European city that was bombed continuously during days, and mainly by the Italian and German fascist aviation that were helping Franco's troops, because Hitler and Mussolini wanted to taste their weaponry, their weapons, for the induce to the World War II that was coming. And these defenses were installed here. It's a hill that is 260 something meters above sea level, so it was considered the best strategic place to install them, but in fact, to tell you the truth, they were not particularly effective, because the guns were, I mean, the Republic has no money to buy good guns, so they were a bit old, and the aviation was coming from the sea, because they were based in Majorca Island, in the Balearic Islands, where the German people go every summer nowadays to have fun there. So their aviation went from that island and entered to the city. So the hill is far, you can see more or less here, it's far from the sea side. So they were not really effective, but well, they had this dissuasive role, no? And people felt a bit safer because of this. And no, not really. And this area, after the war in the 1940s, you know that many people came to Barcelona to work, to try to find their work in the Catalan factories, in the Catalan industry, that was mostly concentrated in Spain. The industry was mostly concentrated in Catalonia and the Basque Country, in the north area. So many people came, but they also came from other parts of Spain to avoid repression, because in the small villages they were repressed because the new regime people knew that they were not supporters of Franco, so they were repressed in the small villages, so they left their villages and went to big cities such as Barcelona. And they constructed, when they arrived at the city with almost nothing, only a suitcase, and then they managed to build some shanties here, or barracks. It's recorded that around 600 people were living here in bad conditions, and nowadays we can find the traces of these two different episodes, and the Barcelona Museum of History has recovered and has posted here. You can see some open signals with information about these episodes, and there is also a small exhibition inside. This picture is a bit old, it's from 2 years old. So now this building has been renovated, and you can find this exhibition here, which the name is Barcelona to the Limit, and it shows the city, how people lived during the bombings in the city, and the use that the newcomers did to this place. And now, as I told you before, it's very popular among youngsters. They come here, they smoke something, I don't know what is that, and they, well, yeah, it's, and if you come, we can visit it. You have amazing views of the city. Well, this was an example of the recovery of memory. And then this is a historical place, right? I explained you. But then there is other examples of memorialization of sites that are not specifically historical, like this square in the Gracia neighborhood, which is called Dones del 36, Women of 36 square. It's a completely new square, as you can see. There is nothing particular about historical episodes here, but he has written again Dones, which means women, and there is a small plaque. I don't have the picture here, but there is a small plaque inside the square with information about this concept of women of 36. What does it mean? It means that group of, it's a generic term. It refers to all women and female children that were affected by the Civil War and the Francoist repression, and even by the Nazi horror, because some Catalan women finished their days in the Nazi camps, because they went to the exile after the war, and they were working at the French resistance, they were cooperating with the French resistance, and they were kept by the Nazi police, and they finished, they were deported to Nazi camps. So this is the name Women of 36 dedicated to all these women. This square was opened in August 2009, and well, this is the example of these changing names of the city, the nomenclature, I don't know how to say in English, the nomenclature of the city, and giving public notoriousness to this memory. And just to finish, I always like to include some examples of the struggle against the dictatorship. And for instance, one of the main opposition to the new regime was led in the 50s, 60s, and of course 70s by students and by workers. And here we have in San Andreu, we have an example of this low race factory or track factory, which was called Pegaso. This was a symbol of Pegasus here. And the workers of this factory, the employees joined general strikes in the 50s and in the 60s, and they demanded for better salaries and for better conditions and for more freedom. and they were completely repressed by the Franco police. And finally, when in the 70s, when the factory moved out of the city, the neighbors wanted the place for a public use, and half of the land was sold to real estate company, and they built very quickly many apartments. But part of the factory was kept. For instance, this is the main entrance of the factory, and now it's kept. And they built a public park and a public school as well, because of the neighbors' movement. You know, this civil society. They were organized in the early years of democracy, and they demanded for this. And they even installed a small plaque in the memory of those workers who fought for the freedoms during the dictatorship. Okay, it was installed in 1986, so you have an idea how tough is recovering memory in Spain after a long dictatorship. Well, these are some examples. And someone asked me to explain a bit the impact of this project among the citizenry. Well, to tell you the truth, the visitors of this website are around 100 every week, so it's not too much, but we are happy with that because at least it seems that people is interested. Now we are using also the social networks, Facebook, Twitter, and also Instagram, and we can see that people are attracted by the idea, and they are sending and followers or friends or whatever how to say it. Well, more or less this is very shortly the project and the interest that is having among of course the website is in 4 languages, Catalan language, also Spanish, English and French, because you know that Barcelona is quite popular among French visitors, so we included it. And maybe next year we can visit Turkey. On you, if you are visiting very nice the city. Also the application, the app for mobile phones. By now it's available for iPhone only, but we hope that soon it will be also for Android system. You can just download it here.
Bu çalışmanın arka planında ne var biraz geçmişinde ve özellikle ilk yaptığımız Beyoğlu yürüyüşü nasıl gelişti, ben onları anlatacağım. Daha sonra iktidarla devamını nasıl getirdiğimizden bahsediyor olacak. Burada Beyoğlu 2015 yazıyor ama ilk aslında yürüyüşümüzü Eylül 2014'te yaptık. Kolombiya Üniversitesi ve New York Üniversitesi'nden dostlarımızla birlikte İstanbul'da yaptığımız bir atölye çalışması vardı. Hafızayı harekete geçirmek. Kadınlar hafızayı harekete geçiriyor başlığında bir çalışma grubu var Kolombiya Üniversitesi merkezde. İçinde Şili'den, Amerika'dan, Avrupa'dan ve Türkiye'den akademisyenlerin, sanatçıların olduğu bir çalışma grubu bu. Şili'deki ilk toplantıdan sonra ikinci toplantısı Eylül 2014'te Türkiye'deydi ve aslında Yıllarda burada depoda bir sergiyle birlikte bu toplantı oldu. Hafızayı harekete geçirmek üzerinden bizim için en azından çok heyecan verici bir sergiyle birlikte burada buluştuk. Şili'den ve Amerika'dan, Avrupa'dan dostlarımızla birlikte. Ve biraz onu vesile bilerek başlattık. Daha sonra cins adımlar demeye başladığımız bu yürüyüşleri. Bunun arka planında neler var? Yaklaşık 25 yıldır Türkiye'de devam eden bir feminist tarih yazımı ve hafıza çalışmaları birikimi var en başta. Akademik çalışmalarla başlayıp onun da ötesine geçen çalışmalarla devam eden Kadın Eserleri Kütüphanesi'nin yakın zamanda da online olarak hayata geçen İstanbul Kadın Müzesi'nin müthiş katkıda bulunduğu bir tarihi yeniden düşünme, özellikle İstanbul'un tarihini yeniden düşünme süreci yaşıyoruz. Kadınlar üzerinden bu tarihi nasıl yeniden yazabiliriz sorusuna verilen çok heyecan verici cevaplar var. Kitaplar, makaleler, tiyatro oyunları, web siteleri, sözlü tarih çalışmaları ve başka şekillerde. Bütün bunlardan feyz aldık bu çalışmaya başlarken. Benim geçtiğimiz yıllarda katıldığım 2 feminist hafıza turu vardı. Birincisi Bochum, Almanya'da. Çok küçük bir şehir Bochum aslında, Ruhr Vadisi'nde. Oradaki üniversiteye davet edilmiştim ve orada çok küçük bir kadın merkezinin yaptığı tur müthiş ufkumu açtı. O tura katıldıktan sonra Bochum sanki dünyanın merkezi ve burada dünyanın en önemli olayları olmuş hissini taşıdım ve artık o turdan sonra şehirdeki bütün adımların farklı olmaya başladı. Çok sayıda kadının hikayesiyle birlikte ve gerçekten Bochum'dan dünyanın pek çok yerine bağlanan hikayelerle birlikte yürümeye başladığını hissettim. Aynı zamanda Central European University'deki meslektaşımız Andrei Pető'nün Budapeşte'de de yaptığı, size Budapeşte'den bahsettiğiniz çok ilginç bir feminist hafıza turu var. O da bir aslında otobüsle birlikte şehrin ana mekanlarını kadınların gözünden tanıtıyor bu turda. Ondan da çok feyz almıştık ve bir süredir keşke İstanbul'da da bir feminist hafıza turu yapabilsek, yürüyüşleri kurgulayabilsek diyorduk. Bu 2014 Eylül'deki toplantı buna güzel bir vesile oldu. Bu fikri açtığım genç arkadaşlarımızdan Dilara, burada Pınar Ensar, burada ilk gruptan daha önce vakıfta çalışan İrem Az o gruptaydı. Karakutu Derneği'nden arkadaşlarımız vardı. Karakutu ile birlikte ilk turu geliştirdik. Bir araya geldik ve nasıl bir şey yapabiliriz diye konuştuk. Bunun İstanbul trafiğini ve bir ölçeğini de göz önünde alarak daha küçük bir alanda ve yürüyerek yapılmasının iyi olacağını ve Beyoğlu'ndan başlayabileceğimizi düşündük. Bir sonraki toplantımıza herkes fikirlerle geldi. Kimlerin hikayesini anlatmak istiyoruz, anlatabiliriz. Ve ondan sonra o gruptaki böyle bir 10-15 kişilik bir gruptuk. Herkes bir mekanı veya bir hikayeyi aldı. Bir kadının hikayesini, bir mücadelenin hikayesini, bir mekanın hikayesini, LGBT hareketinin mücadelesine dair hikayeleri kendi aramızda bölüştük. Ondan sonra herkes, her birimiz birer hikaye anlatıcısına dönüştük. Ve o hikayelerin araştırmasını yaparak metinlerini hazırladık. Daha sonra bir araya geldiğimizde de bu gördüğünüz tur ortaya çıktı. Tünelden başlıyoruz tura, yani burada A olarak görünen yerden. Cohen kız kardeşlerin tünel pasajının içindeki aslında hala devam eden Cohen kitabının evinde yüzyılın başında açtıkları kitap evini konuşuyoruz. Farklı yerlerde bulunduktan sonra pasajın içine yerleşen. Hala oraya gittiğinizde kafanızı kaldırırsanız Cohen Hemşireler Kitap Evi diye bir ibare görürsünüz. Ben yıllarca orada oturup diye. Dolayısıyla yani o mekanın pek çoğumuzun kullandığı o mekanın yepyeni bir hafızası olmuş oldu. Bu hikayeyi öğrendikten sonra. Genel olarak ne yapıyoruz bu turda, bu yürüyüşler sırasında, Beyoğlu yürüyüşünde özellikle ne tür müdahalelerde bulunduğumuzu düşünüyoruz veya bulunmayı amaçladık. Onların üzerinden geçip bugün hala devam eden mücadelelerle bağlantılı 2-3 durağımızdan özellikle bahsetmek istiyorum. Şu anda aslında hafıza üzerine konuşmak insanı çok garip hissettiriyor. İçinden geçtiğimiz şiddet ve savaş ortamında geçmiş şiddet deneyimlerinin ve savaşların sonunda bugüne süzülen hafızayı konuşmak biraz garip hissettiriyor ama biraz önce vereceğim örneklerde de göreceksiniz ki aslında bunların hepsi yaşayan hafızalar ve bugünkü mücadelelerle çok bağlantılı. Ve biz bu yürüyüşler boyunca da tam da bu bağlantıları kurmaya çalışıyoruz. Birinci yapmaya çalıştığımız şey herhalde en açık olan kadınların hikayelerini ve mücadelelerini görünür kılmak. özellikle de ana akım kimlik kurgularında yer almayan kadınların, mesela gayrimüslim kadınların hikayelerini görünür kılmak. Zamanla yaşayan birinci şey belki dedirsek, işte Koen Kız Kardeşler, Eki Bahar, Meryem Şahinyan bu örneklerden bazıları. İkinci olarak yapmaya çalıştığımız şey, hem kadınların hayatlarının ve mücadelelerin hem de kamusal alanın, şehrin nasıl militarize olduğu ve millileştiği, bunun tarihini ve süreçlerini görünür kılmak. Konuşuyoruz Gezi Parkı'nın ucunda Havataş'tan Sabiha Gökçen'e kalkan servisler üzerinden. Aynı zamanda da kamusal mekanların nasıl alternatif bir hafızalandırma süreçleri yaşadıklarını, ne tür hafıza mücadelelerine ev sahipliği yaptıklarını konuşuyoruz. Biraz sonra da bahsedeceğim. Galatasaray Meydanı hem Cumhuriyet'in 50. yıl anıtını barındıran hem de bugün cumartesi insanlarının mücadelesine ev sahipliği yapan bir yer. Aynı zamanda da Meryem Şahin'in Galatasaray stüdyosunun olduğu yer. Onun üzerinde duruyoruz. Feminist ve LGBT mücadelesini mekanla bağlantılı olduğu yürüyüşlerin Gezi Parkı'nda ve İstiklal boyunca farklı mekanlarda bunu yapıyoruz. Aynı zamanda da bununla birlikte cinsiyetçi ve homofobik mekanların hafızasına ya da cinsiyetçi ve homofobik eylemlerin ve şiddetin hafızasına yine belli yerler üzerinden konuşmaya çalışıyoruz. Burada bizim baştan beri ikinci turumuz olarak yer alan Narmanlı Han, kentsel dönüşümün şehirde nasıl yaşandığı ve ona dair yine cinsiyetlendirilmiş hafızaya bakmak için bize bir alan açtı ve 2014 Eylül'ünden beri Narmanlı Han'ın adım adım kapatılmasına, ilk önce girebiliyorduk mesela içeride kedileriyle ve hala oraya bakan sahipleriyle konuşabiliyorduk. Fakat adım adım girememeye, ulaşamamaya başladık. En son biliyorsunuz yıkım başladı Narmanlı Han'da. Dolayısıyla kentsel dönüşüme tanıklık etmek ve oradaki hafızaya bakmak. İlk geliştirdiğimiz turda, yürüyüşte Ali Berger'le özellikle konuşuyorduk Narmanlı Han'da. Daha sonra Ermeni kültürel hafızasına yoğunlaştığımız yürüyüşte Marie Gerrit Mezyan ve Jamana'da daha ayrıntılı olarak konuştuk. Son olarak da belki bir alt metin olarak şunu da yapmaya çalışıyoruz. Çeşitli hak mücadeleleri içerisinde kadınların ve LGBT'lilerin nasıl marjinalize edildikleri ve onların sorunlarının nasıl ikinci olarak görülebildiği belli noktalarda üzerinde duruyoruz. Mesela tecavüz ve cinsel tacize dair girişim ve bunun İnsan Hakları Derneği ve İnsan Hakları Mücadelesi içerisindeki yeri ama aynı zamanda yalnızlığı bir anlamda ve zorluklarını konuşuyoruz. Veya Kürt kadın dengleş sanatçılarını, özellikle Ayşe Şan'ın hikayesini konuşuyoruz. Hem bir Kürt olarak hem bir kadın olarak yaşadığı ayrımcılık üzerinden. Özellikle bugün burada Hrant Dink Vakfı ile birlikte konuşuyor olduğumuz için ve bugünkü mücadeleleri de doğrudan bağlandığı için Zabel Yeseyan'dan, Ayşe Şan'dan ve Cumartesi anneleriyle birlikte deneyimlediğimiz Galatasaray Meydanı'ndan kısaca bahsetmek istiyorum. Zabel Yeseyan'ı Aras'ın Hidriyar Palas önünde, Aras'ın bulunduğu Hidriyar Palas'ın önünde anıyoruz Zabel Yeseyan'ı. Zabel Yeseyan'ı pek çoğunuz tanıyorsunuzdur muhtemelen. Yüzyılın başında yaşamış olan ve pek çok mücadeleye, hem kadın hakları hem de savaş karşıtı mücadeleye hem de Ermenilerin yaşadıkları süreçlere yazdıklarıyla tanıklık etmiş olağanüstü bir kadın. Zabelyesya'nı İstanbul Kadın Müzesi sitesi Osmanlı toplumunda antimilitarist hareketin öncüsü ilk Ermeni sosyalist feminist kadın yazar olarak tanıtıyor. Aynı zamanda 24 Nisan 1915'teki kara listedeki tek kadın kurtuluyor o sırada. Kaçabiliyor fakat daha sonra 1930'larda Stalin'in saldırılarından kaçamıyor ve bilinmeyen bir yerde 1940'larda öldürülüyor. Zabelyesya'nın neden Aras yayıncılığının önünde konuşuyoruz? Zabelyesya'nın kitaplarını son yıllarda bize kazandırdı Aras yayıncılık. Aynı zamanda da ilk Zabelyesya'nı biz Melisa Bilen ve Yerli Ekmekçioğlu'nun çalışmalarından öğrendik. Onların derlediği 5 Ermeni feminist yazar kitabı Türkiye'deki feminist tarih yazımı içinde çok önemli dönüm noktalarından bir tanesi. O da Aras yayıncılıktan çıkmıştı. Ve o kitabın içerisinde daha sonra Melisa Bilen'in de daha ayrıntılı olarak incelediği bir yazısı var Zabelyesya'nın. 1912'de Balkan Savaşları ile ilgili yazmış bu yazıyı. Ve aslında yazıyı okuduğumuzda bugün Suriye ile ilgili ve bugün Türkiye'deki Suriyeli mültecilerle ilgili de yazılmış olabilirdi o yazı. Çok etkileyici bir yazı. Dolayısıyla Aras'ın önüne gittiğimizde o yazılan bölümleri okuyoruz ve bunu bir şey olarak yani yan yana gelerek ve 5-6 kişi farklı bölümlerini okuyarak yapıyoruz. Burada fotoğrafta görüyorsunuz. Etraftan gelip ilgilenenlere de yani herkesin duyabileceği şekilde okuyoruz ve Türkçe olarak okuyoruz. Mutlaka turu yürüyüş İngilizce olarak yapıyor olsak dahi. İlgilenenlere de bu yazının PDF halini veriyoruz. Birkaç kısa alıntı okumak istiyorum şimdi. Biraz sizde de, biraz bugüne de getirmek için bir anlamda. Savaş ilan edildi. Sıcacık salonda huzur içinde oturmuş, lambanın o tatlı ağaçın ışığı altında dostlarım eğlenceli bir şeyler okuyordum. Ansızın içinden bir ses beni ayağa kaldırdı. Hiç beklenmedik bir hüzün sardı benliğime. Belki de şu anda bir çarpışma var ve sayısız insan ölüyor. Gece boyunca uykum sürekli bölünüyor, huzursuzum, düşünüyorum, kan dökülüyor. Şehir sessizliğin ve karanlığın ortasında, huzur dolu uykusundayken, üstesinden gelemediğimi düşünce beni cezalandırmak istercesine üstüme geliyor. Bunlar hep farklı alıntılar yazıdan, yani arka arkaya okuyorum ama ciddiyetle ağır savaş hakkında konuşuluyor artık. Avrupa diplomasisinin çözümsüz bulmacası hakkında konuşuyorlar. Benim dikkatim dağılıyor. Sinsi diplomasinin resmi ya da gayri resmi oyunlarından bana ne? İçimden bir ses haykırıyor. Şu anda iki tarafta binlerce köylünün, binlerce bilinçsiz saf insanın kanı dökülüyor. Tartışmak istemiyorum. Savaşı coşkulu ve istenen bir şey olarak sunmak için sıralanan nedenleri ve bahaneleri duymak istemiyorum. Savaşın kaçınılmaz bir gereklilik olduğunu da kabul etmiyorum. Vapur birdenbire bir kalabalıkla doluyor. Başları örtülü kadınlar ve çocuklar. Nereden geldiklerini tahmin etmek hiç de zor değil. Bunlar Rumeli'den gelen muhacirler. Şaşkın, tedirgin, ağlamaklı. Işıl ışıl gözleri ve kumral başlarıyla şirin şirin çocuklar başlarındaki felaketten habersiz koşturup duruyorlar. Eşyalarından arta kalanlar ki çoğu işe yaramaz şeyler bir o yana bir bu yana çekiştiriliyor. Kadınlar bazen yanlışlıkla birinci mevki salonuna giriyorlar. Ciddi ve asık suratlı başkent sakinlerinin hassas sinirleri yenilginin sonucu olan bu manzara karşısında bozuluyor. Ortalıkta yolunu kaybetmiş tekeler gibi dolaşan kadınları kabaca, uyurgan bir edayla gemideki hiçbir erkeğin giremediği hareme gönderiyorlar. Birinci sınıf yolcuları tekrar yerlerine yerleşiyor. Suratları yine asık ve merhametsiz. Bu insanların çoğu memur ya da devlet görevlisi. Savaş doğrudan onları tehdit etmiyor. Rahat ve sıcak evlerine dönebileceklerini ve bunun böyle devam edeceğini biliyorlar. Öfkelerinin sebebi devletlerinin manevi ihtişamını, gücünün kaybetmesi bir yenilgiden giden ziyade gözlerinin önündeki sefalet manzarası. Bunu görmeseler daha iyi ve uygun olacaktı. Bütün bunları uygunsuz ve yersiz buluyorlar. O soğuk yüzlerinde boş yere bir iyilik ve vicdan ışıltısı arıyorum. Küçük bir çocuk kulakları sağır edercesine feryada basıyor. Bu acı dolu çığlığa birçok inleyen ses cevap veriyor. Sanki bütün dünya acıyla inliyor. birbirine düşman halklar bir felaketle karşılaştıklarında birbirlerine ne kadar benzediklerini, aynı ruhu paylaşıp aynı çığlıkları attıklarını, aynı lanetleri ve aynı dilekleri birbirlerinin aynı vurgularla dile getirdiklerini bilselerdi. Belki imkansız gibi görünen kardeşlik ve uyum, ancak o en büyük felaketle mümkün olabilirdi. Bütün yazıyı okumanızı çok tavsiye ederim. Bugün içinde geçtiğimiz süreç içinde hem Türkiye'de olanlar hem Suriye'de olanlar hem de onun bugünümüze yansımasıyla ilgili yazılmış olabilirdi de belki güçlü sözleri. Biz de biraz bu bağlantıları da kurmaya çalışarak, yani bugünü de tartışmanın içine katarak onu okuyoruz ve bize kattıklarını ve zorlu yaşam mücadelesini, aynı zamanda da onun hayatı üzerinden Ermeni kadınlarının bu topraklarda yaşadıklarını konuşuyoruz bu yürüyüş sırasında. Ondan sonra yürüyüşe devam ediyoruz ve Mezopotamya Kültür Merkezi'nde Bahar'dan bir şiir okuyoruz arada. Ondan sonra da Mezopotamya Kültür Merkezi'nin önünde Ayşe Şan'ı tanıyoruz. Uzun uzun Ayşe Şan'ın hikayesine girmeyeceğim. Türkiye'de ilk Kürtçe müzik yayınlamış, ilk Kürtçe albümü yayınlamış kişi Ayşe Şan. Onun müziğini dinletiyoruz sokakta. İlk başta bilgisayardan dinletiyorduk ama şimdi harika bir şey buldu Dilara. Küçük bir YouTube'da, küçük bir hoparlörden. Yere koyuyoruz, herkes yere bakıyor, ne oluyor burada diye. Oradan Ayşe Şan hepimize sesleniyor. Mezopotamya Kültür Merkezi, Kürt yakın 1990'lardan bu yana Kürt gençlerinin özellikle tiyatro, sinema ve müzik etrafında bir araya geldikleri çok önemli bir yer oldu. Hem orayı konuşuyoruz hem de onun üzerinden Ayşe Şan'ın çok katmanlı ve çok önemli katkılarını konuşuyoruz. Onun sesine de kulak vererek. Daha sonra da Galatasaray Meydanı'na geçiyoruz. Galatasaray Meydanı pek çoğunuz biliyorsunuz 1990'lardan bu yana cumartesi insanları yazıldı. 1995-99 arasında her hafta büyük baskılara rağmen orada toplanıp kayıplara karşı ses çıkarmaya başlamışlardı. 99'da artık her hafta gözaltına alındıkları için bunu durdurmak zorunda kaldılar. Fakat 2008'den sonra tekrar devam ettiler. Bugün hala her cumartesi 12'de bir araya gelen cumartesi insanları sadece 90'lardaki kayıpları değil, bu topraklardaki bütün kayıpları anıyorlar. Ve özellikle 24 Nisan civarında ilk toplu kayıpların yaşandığını söyledikleri, öyle kurguluyorlar. 1915 Ermeni soykırımı kayıplarını anıyorlar. Biz bu yıl 24 Nisan'da genelde bu arada yürüyüşlerimizi cumartesi günü sabahtan başlatıyoruz ve 12'de cumartesi insanlarına katılıyoruz. İsteyenler katılıyor tabii ki. Ondan sonra İstiklal Caddesi'nden yukarıya doğru yürümeye devam ediyoruz. Burası yürüyüşün bir parçası olarak onlara katılabiliyoruz. Bu yıl 24 Nisan'da Ermeni kültürel hafızası üzerine yaptığımız yürüyüşte de yürüyüşte Meryem Şahinyan'ı da andık. Her yürüyüşte yaptığımız gibi. Meryem Şahinyan 1915'te 4 yaşında Sivas'ta yaşıyor. Dedesi Osmanlı Meclisi'nde Sivas vekillerinden vekili. Soykırım süreci onu da ailesinde çok derinden etkiliyor ve hayatta kalanlar sonra İstanbul'a yerleşiyorlar. Meryem Şahinyan 1935'lerden sonra 37'den 1985'e kadar uzunca bir süre Galatasaray'da cumartesi insanların tam da toplandığı alanın üzerinde kurulu olan Foto Galatasaray'da babasıyla birlikte fotoğrafçılık yapıyor. Olağanüstü bir arşivi var. Pek çoğunuz zaten aşinasınızdır herhalde o arşive. Aras Yayıncılık tanımlanan o arşiv daha sonra bazı fotoğrafları yayınlandı. 200 binden fazla fotoğraf var. 1 milyon kadar kişiyi fotoğraflamış bir fotoğrafçı Meryem Şahinyan. ve özellikle bir kadın fotoğrafçı olduğu için çok daha özel alanı yansıtan, özel ilişkileri yansıtan fotoğrafların olduğunu görüyoruz bu olağanüstü arşiv içerisinde. Foto Galatasaray'ın olduğu yer 1950'lerde, 60'larda zannediyorum, tam tarihini söyleyemeyeceğim şimdi, yıkılıyor ve 50. yıl, 75 zannediyorum, 73 mü? 50. yıl anıtı yapılıyor. Orada anıtı görüyorsunuz zaten yürüdüğünüz zaman. Dolayısıyla bir kamusal alanın millileştirilmesi, yani orada yaşanan bir erken kentsel dönüşüm anlarından biri millileştirilmesi ve militarize edilmesi. Son derece militarize bir anıt var orada. Ama aynı zamanda bu millileştirilmiş ve militarize edilmiş tarihe müdahale eden bir çok önemli, belki yakın tarihimizin en önemli hafıza eylemlerinden bir tanesi olan kayıplara karşı cumartesi insanlarının eylemlerini Meryem Şahin'in hikayesiyle birlikte ele alıyoruz. Ve geçen seneki buluşmadan bahsediyoruz. Ondan sonra yürüyüşümüze devam ediyoruz İstiklal boyunca ve Gezi Parkı'nda sonlandırıyoruz. Orada hem Sabiha Gökçen'in hem feminist ve LGBT mücadelelerin tarihini konuşuyor oluyoruz.
Biz bu Beyoğlu yürüyüşünü gerçekleştirdikten sonra Ayşegül'ün de söylediği gibi yeni rotalar geliştirmek, yeni semtlerde yeni yürüyüşler gerçekleştirmek için bu fikri projelendirdik. Ve Aralık ayıydı, 2014 Aralık ayında bir çağrı açtık. Hem sosyal medya aracılığıyla hem de Sabancı Üniversitesi'nde olmanın avantajını da kullanarak öğrencilere de bu çağrıyı yaptık ve tanıtım toplantıları gerçekleştirdik. O dönemde 50'den fazla e-mail aldık. Bu projenin bir parçası olmak isteyen ve rehber olarak, hikaye anlatıcısı olarak daha fazla toplumsal cinsiyet ve hafıza rotası üzerinde çalışmak isteyen kişilerden. Ve daha sonrasında dediğim gibi tanıtım toplantılarına devam ettik. Ve aslında nerelerde neler yapmak istediğimiz üzerine konuşmaya başladık. Çünkü Ayşegül de en başta söyledi, biz Beyoğlu turunu 2014'te geliştirmeye başladığımızda da hep hikaye anlatıcısının ilgisi üzerinden yola çıkmanın aslında önemli olduğunu düşünüyorduk, buna inanıyorduk. O yüzden aynı şekilde devam etmenin önemli olduğuna karar verdik ve aslında yazı biraz kim ne yapmak istiyor, nerede ne yapmak istiyor sorularına ayırdık. Bir yandan da tabii hem Kadıköy'de hem Balat'ta yeni yürüyüşler yapmayı planladığımız için buralara özel saha gezileri yaptık. Daha sonrasında tabii büyük bir çalışma ve araştırma, literatür tarama dönemi başladı. Herkes, her rehber, her hikaye anlatıcısı hem Kadıköy'de hem Balat'ta nerede ne yapmak istediğine karar verdi ve durakları netleştirdik, rotayı oluşturduk. Ve tabii aslında özellikle Beyoğlu'ndaki yaptığımız rota sırasında geliştirdiğimiz bir deneyim şuydu ki aslında sadece hikaye...
Well, comparatively, our project is a newer one. Actually, it's the first time that we will be publicly sharing the link of the map that we've been working on since 2 years. As you see, it's called the Turkey Cultural Heritage Map. We will also see the website later on. Start by saying that this is actually the second mapping project of the Hrant Dink Foundation. The first mapping project was called the 2012 Declaration. It's a map that consisted of that included information, geographic and historic information on the Istanbul Armenian foundations, their history of confiscation, restoration, and so on. it's in the form of a map, an online map as well, and a report that is available on the entrance. You can check it. Probably most of you saw it already. And we can say that it's a pivotal source on the topic, and it comes up on the search engines. It comes up on different research projects, and hopefully the next mapping project, which is the Turkey Cultural Heritage project, the map, will be as much successful. First, let me explain the structure of the project, how we worked on it. It's an inventory. To put it simply, it's an Excel file. It includes, currently it includes 10,000 items, lines of data, and around 40 bits of data on each line, which makes it a matrix of 400,000 cells. This data is the composition of the public buildings owned by the non-Muslim, if I can use the term, we call it's problematic. The non-Muslim communities of Turkey today, or the Ottoman Empire, and the same as it continued. When we say public buildings owned by, it's also a problematic way of putting it, of course. We love calling them by their names as they are: churches, monasteries, chapels, schools, hospitals, orphanages, and cemeteries. And the communities as well, we love to call them by their names as they are, without combining them under an umbrella terminology. The Armenians, Greeks, Jews, Assyrians. Currently, these are the 4 communities included in the map. We have data on many other smaller communities, smaller depending on our research, of course. The Levantine community, the Bulgar, the Russian, Georgian, and several other communities. The inventory is represented in a form of an online interactive map, and we are currently working on the publication of our first report. We call it the first report, as we see it part of the first of a series, which is dependent on a field work that that is part of our sources, information sources. A word on the sources. When we use the Ottoman archives, the Prime Ministership Ottoman archives, as they include the church books. This is how they are called, and they are the sources of the location, of the quantity, and many other important information that enters to our inventory about the dates of their construction and so on. When we say literature, among the archives is also the Asia Minor Research Center in Athens, where the population exchange, after the population exchange, there was an accumulation of oral history about the villages and the buildings that resided there. So we had also started including that to our research. When we talk about literature, is the secondary published material, lists, other inventories, sometimes inventories published by the for example, an important source for this was the 1913 Patriarchate list, that the Armenian Patriarchate presented it to the Interior Ministry of the Ottoman Empire, a list of what it owned as churches. And of course, the fieldwork. We conducted our pilot fieldwork study this year in Kayseri. It was the reasons of choosing Kayseri is it's out of the scope of this presentation, but let me say that it was an interesting visit. We had to go back in September after 2 weeks of doing research in June, we had to go back in September because we couldn't complete the research. We cannot claim, of course, completing 100. Later on, you will see in the numbers how the situation looks like. Our mission basically was in Kayseri to go find what we have in our inventory, what we have gathered as an inventory data from archives and literature, to see what's remaining, what's there on the ground in the field, and to, of course, document them. And when we say document, it includes photographing, taking their coordinates, their geographic coordinates, talking with the people that are living in proximity with these buildings about their whereabouts, about their somehow the ownership, the status of the building, and so on. And the outcome will be publication of a report that we are currently working on it, and it will be published around mid next month. We had a transfer. We can claim that we have a transferable experience that we can share, and we are sharing it in the report of Kayseri. We will be sharing it online on our map website, and we will be hopefully be able to use this experience in our forthcoming visits as the project goes on, and a second phase, or actually a third phase. And we have the data that is part of the online map. A word on fieldwork. You can see that that we were able to record 113 places from the Armenian inventory and 68 from the Greek inventory. But you can see that we could not record 102 of the Armenian and 104 of the Greek. Well, this shows somehow the extent of the damage and how much is lost. Because, mind you, the 113 and 68 includes the non-existent buildings that we were able to record, that we were able to locate, or because either a physical remnant was there that we could find, or the memory was there, because the other numbers, 102 and 104, don't have the memory as well. And this means that we were not able to record or find any information about them. A bit of how the building types are distributed on a chart. 64% were the churches, 1% orphanages, schools, and chapels. You can see the numbers. And this is a chart of how these buildings are being used today. The church, we had one church that is still a church, and it is part of, and it is one of the very few Armenian churches that are used as churches today in Anatolia. Actually, there are 4 or 5. One is in Kayseri, and it belongs to the Kayseri Armenian Church Foundation. 22 are non-existent, they vanished. 2% are in military areas, and this was one of our challenges, as we could not access them. 21% are used as homes, dwellings, apartments, houses. 8% are museums, which is a good number. By museums, we mean that the church is preserved as it is, and it is registered as a museum. You can also see the numbers. I don't want to go to the fieldwork challenges, and this all goes to, by the way, to our inventory, and it's part of how you can search these places from the inventory. We listed some of the challenges that we faced in our Kayseri field trip. The location mismatch is that we find, so our literature includes a lot of village names, neighborhood names, that we could not match them to the present names, which means we cannot look for a certain building. It needs extensive research of many different kinds of sources to be able to match these old and new names to each other. Trust of the locals is a very, probably a common challenge to any fieldwork research. For us, the particular problem was that we were being to be hunting for treasure. When you enter a village and ask for the place of the church, because you know from the literature that there's a church in such a village, then they say, "Are you looking for gold?" This is a common reaction. Other than the treasure hunters themselves, that were also challenges, who see us both as competitors and as a source of information. Because they would, of course, keep asking for information about if we know something about, especially when they know that we are Armenian or coming from an Armenian organization. There is this myth, probably many of you are familiar with, about this coming back and finding treasure. Total annihilation of the site is another challenge, as we had to confirm the information that the church is not there anymore, or the monastery. We were talking with several people from the same village, and sometimes the information was colliding. Some would say the monastery is there where the flag is erected now. Some would say it's in the backyard of that school, and this, you could imagine the situation. And the inability to access the sites, as I said, in military compounds or in private dwellings, that the people who own them are not willing to share them, either for you to see them or to just photograph them. It is a challenge. Sometimes it's a collective thing in certain villages. People would not, and in some other places, people are so helpful that they guide you, and we could locate many places that were not available in the literature through the help of these people who would list names, would list places. They would contact other people they know from other villages, and so on. And this, as I said, all goes to a map. We wanted to share some of what we saw in Kayseri. Bünyan is in eastern part of the Kayseri province, and this is a remnant of a cemetery, an Armenian cemetery. And it's the very famous Subastvazazin Armenian monastery of Tomarza. You could see the remnants. It was hard to match these two. This is a lucky church that was converted to mosque. But you could see the minaret, how it is added to it. It becomes a mosque. By the way, this village is now totally evacuated because of the danger from the mountains. Rocks are being avalanches now. This is an example of a church converted to a warehouse. In our first visit, we could not find this church. In our second visit, the woman in the picture was very helpful in locating it for us. This is the Surp Stepanos Armenian church in Gernish. It is part of a private dwelling that we were, again, not able to access it in our first visit, but in our second visit, we could enter the house. The owner didn't allow visitors the first time. It's a private ownership. No one can argue. If we can summarize the goals of our project to 3 words, is the visibility. We want to show that there is that these places still exist. The damage is also shocking, of course, but it's also shocking how much is preserved. And the much that is preserved, I mean, there is. We as a project team at the foundation tries to reveal it, to show it. Preservation, it continues, and the knowledge, of course. We hope this data, this information, will inspire students, researchers, for coming up with conclusions. We reserve the right of coming to conclusions to those who will study the results, the data that we are collecting. This is the website. Let me show you a bit about the website, the website itself. This is in its homepage form. It's in Turkish and English, and we can add Spanish. Catalan, of course. The map is based on the Google Maps, and the filtering is an API that manipulates the database connected to it. It's both search and filtering machine, a tool that has many aspects. Here we could search by name the places that are under the province. The provinces we didn't put here. We are actually the map was in a phase of gathering feedbacks as we opened it to a small group to gather feedback, and we will be improving and taking the feedbacks into consideration. And we will always be open to that feedback, of course, as you could also try and share with us your valuable comments. Here, it gives also suggestions. Let me try some to see the suggestions here. Suppose it was if it was a place, it would show you in the bracket that it is a place. It's the village. Then, other than this main search engine, there are the provinces that you can narrow down your search on it. You can search in Diyarbakır for hafızadaki, for example. And it will show you that there are 21 hafızadakis in Diyarbakır. The circles that have numbers in them are the clusters. As you click on them, it zooms in to them, and each of the buttons includes an info box that shows the ethnic belonging, the type of the building, the registration that if it has place has a name, and the link for further information that is opens for further information. And here you can see a small info and the sources that we gathered the place from. If it was mentioned in several sources, we list the source. Here the user can edit the information, and the information to us as admins, and we can evaluate the information and edit it accordingly. And we can, as you can see that it doesn't have a photograph, this one. You can add an image, suggest an image to it. As we are in a phase of testing, we are not, currently we are cautious about sharing all the shared information. And that's why we are putting a filter of notification. And after that, as we don't know what will be the reaction, at a further stage, we are hoping that each one of these places will turn to forums of discussion about their belonging, about their history, and so on. And of course, there is a share button. We cannot do without social media, and it will be our traffic source. Well, now it's only Facebook, but we will add more interesting social media. Let me continue with the filter box. After selecting the province, you can go to select the districts of the province, and as you see, there are words in parentheses, and these are the old names of the provinces. And you can search with the old names of the provinces in the search box as well. We consider this as this was not the primary research of our project. The primary research was the places, but we found ourselves in a position that we have to make this matching. As for example, the word Kozan means nothing to someone searching for cis from an Armenian searching for cis, or the same for the Black Sea area, and so on. And after selecting the district, you can, well, here it automatically searched for 6 Surpastlazadins in Silvan. It narrowed down from 21 of the whole Diyarbakir to Silvan. And here are the smaller administrative denominations of the, not always villages and not always neighborhoods. Sometimes, depending on the province, they collide or include each other. As I would here search, after selecting the location, we can select also the ethnic group. Jewish. This will search for the whole Jewish inventory, and it will show you 293. Let me give you an idea about this. It's around 300 in the Jewish inventory, about 700 in the Syriac inventory, 4,000 in the Greek inventory, and 4,500 in the Armenian inventory. We have 600 in the remaining ethnic groups and religious denominations. Here we can also select the original function as for the schools in the Jewish community, which narrow down the search to 85. And we can also search for the ones that only have photos. So instead of the 300, it shows the 80 structures that have photos from the Jewish inventory, and so on. I mean, here I can show you also the place where we can suggest a totally new one, not an edit to the existing place, but a new building.